Okay, so good morning, everyone. Good morning, Stephan. And we're ready to go.
Yes, welcome. Today, I want to do it slightly different because of, as you know, Lama Zopa passed away, and I feel like it would be good for all of us to go not so much into the conceptual mind, but more into experience. And I imagine that some of you might have met Lama Zopa. We can talk about that later. Some of you might have read a book or listened to some teachings. But for sure, because you're here in this meeting, you have some connection with Lama Zopa through me and through any teacher who comes to Shantideva. So all the activities of Shantideva Center are activities of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Every teacher who comes to Shantideva, so all the gifts, all the teachings, whatever helped you, that you received in the teachings,
Sorry,
I
just spotlighted you.
yeah, I like to see everyone. So, so in a way, you have received something, and that's I want to bring into our first meditation. Also, I guess most of you are aware of the field of prayer now surrounding the activities of Lama Zopa Rinpoche in Shantideva Center, but all over the world, but particular in Kopan and in other monasteries. Maybe some of you have seen these beautiful video clips with all the pujas being done. So there is that powerful field right now. And we can tune into that with all our brothers and sisters who are now practicing. So I want to invite that field. And then after the meditation, I would like to use some notes I made while listening to Lama Zopa Rinpoche when he was talking about emptiness. So, and not so much getting into the reflective mind, into the analytical mind, but seeing this whole session a bit as a meditation and working within present moment awareness. So with what is here for you. And maybe you have also participated in the prayers and that's all beautiful and important, but sometimes what gets forgotten is how you feel, what's happening in your body, how do you feel when you say these prayers. So my intention today is to give you a space to shift into the body, be in present moment awareness, and not emphasizing the analytical part of the emptiness teachings so much, but let us try to be invited by the presence of this field of prayer and the presence of Lama Zopa Rinpoche to taste, to experience, to be here, and to contemplate some of the teachings Lama Zopa Rinpoche gave on our topic, the topic of emptiness. Just to say some words about my relationship to Lama Zopa Rinpoche. He has been my teacher for 30 years now, so that's a long time. And I'm really just sitting here because of him. So that's because he pushed me to start to teach about 15 years ago, about 3 or 4 times. And so he is the person in my life who shaped my life the most. Like the first 20 years of my life, I really followed his advice, where to go, what to practice, where to do retreat. watch teaching, to listen to. And since 10 years, that has a bit changed. But what never changed is that he is really my window into bodhicitta, my window into emptiness. So he, for me, is the one person, and nobody competes with that. The one person who, is that from the embodiment of bodhicitta and emptiness. So let's take our seats. Yeah, so important to always take this time for you in any kind of practice, in any kind of prayer, to start with what is here and what you bring with you into this moment. And if you like, you can close your eyes. And allow the felt sense of your body to come more into the foreground. It might be experienced as a shift from the head into the body, from living in the world of thoughts and planning and doing, to gently shifting. It's effortless. It's not something you need to do. Is just give yourself the permission to shift gear. And softening and opening. And there's nothing to do for you right now. So you allow the body to rest. And feel the support of the earth, the surface you're sitting on. And let yourself be carried. And how's the inner weather? Just noticing, just recognizing, not doing anything. And maybe with your awareness and breath, you can make a gesture of welcoming, or like as if you are hugging a friend, like really someone you are happy to see, no matter in what condition your friend is. You are happy to see him or her. You have an open heart, and you just give a hug, you just embrace. So just play with that image and see if you can be your own best friend. And the breath can be a bit of an anchor in case you get carried away by the inner dialogue. There's the sounds in your environment. And of course, thoughts continue to arise. There's still commentary going on. But the invitation here is to lose a bit of interest, to unhook from thinking. Returning to the breath. Opening and softening. How's your belly? Your shoulders? Resting. Lama Zopa's passing is a powerful teaching in itself, teaching on the certainty of death and the uncertainty of the time of death. And this might support us now, this moment, to really appreciate aliveness, to really feel that you are here, and that is a mystery, that is a miracle, that is a blessing. So stay in the present moment. You don't need to think about anything, but just remembering death and the uncertainty of the time of death can really sometimes trigger us into really noticing the breath, really feeling your feelings, really appreciating that you hear my voice. Just being alive is sometimes enough when we are aware of it. Just being alive. You are here. You are aware. You are a human being with feelings. The sensations in your body. The experience of touch. Maybe you have an experience of also a scent or a smell. You are alive. And with each in-breath, you receive this gift of life. And maybe there's something happening within your inner world, which is a bit difficult to be with, some discomfort, some tiredness. But even that is magic. Even experiencing that is experiencing aliveness as it is. It's really, really a miracle. And we will never understand it, what this is, what life is, but we're experiencing it. We are it. We are life. And it's just happening. So you don't do anything, but there's so much happening while you rest. So part of this moment of aliveness for all of us here is also that we are in this virtual sacred space. We are in this temple, or Gompa as a Tibetan word. So I invite you to maybe even more consciously to step into this and connect with the participants in the present moment, really appreciating that they are here with us. It's amazing. We are not only alive, we are not only aware, but we have the capacity of the heart to connect with each other. This is so amazing. We have the capacity for friendship, for warmth, for joy of being together. And don't manipulate your feelings. Try, just listen to these words and open to them. See what happens. So, and then let's open our awareness to the universal Sangha, in particular within the mandala of the FPMT and the mandala of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And you are part of it right now. So even if you don't have a personal connection with Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you are part of his awakened activity, his awakened energy. And we can shortly connect with some images of the monks and nuns practicing now, and maybe you have some connections with people who are in Kathmandu. And the distance is only an imagination. Or maybe you can even hear the bells and the singing. And stay in the felt sense of your body. And your awareness becomes bigger and bigger. And then let's invite the presence of Lama Zopa Rinpoche into the center. Maybe you have a visual image of him. Maybe you can hear his laughter. Maybe you have some personal memories. And also invite a memory, an image of all the teachers in the FPMT mandala you have benefited from, you have connected with. And that's at least me, if that would be the only one. But I imagine that for most of you, that's a few. And they are all manifestations of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. They are all manifestations of this awakened activity. So, and then we add offerings. And there's candles and lights in the different places in the FPMT mandala. There's flowers. And we multiply them in our mind. So we fill the space of our meeting here with the offerings, candles, flowers, music, food, incense, and it's all like a dream. It's a dream where Lama Zopa Rinpoche is present. A dream where we're connected with the field of Kriya. And the dream of these beautiful offerings. And you rest. And then I invite you to feel deep into your heart, into your being. And find that original longing, that original yearning, which brought you into the mandala of Lama Zopa. which brought you onto your spiritual path. Maybe you became aware of that before you stepped into an FBMT center. Maybe you know it from childhood. What is that longing, that yearning? See if you can find that in your experience. Invite it. The yearning, the longing, which also made you attending this meeting now. And it can be experienced as a call, as if you're being called or drawn. Or it can be experienced as a yearning, a longing, a yearning for the divine, for love, for the light, for freedom, for a fundamental well-being. And again, this is not manipulating your feelings. It's just an invitation to listen, to feel into that. Why are you here? What brought you here? What guided your steps towards the yoga center, the bookshop, the retreat place, the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, whatever. Maybe there's a possibility that part of this yearning, this longing is also a deep, natural wish in you to help others. To serve, to heal, to contribute. It's beautiful that all of us, we're doing this together now. Not only here in this group, but all these prayers, all these practices, all these studies, all these monasteries, not only in Buddhism, they are the human expression of that call for the divine, the longing for going home. The longing for love, essence love. turning this flame in you most precious. And maybe even if it's just for now, feel that that is the most important in your life. More important than career, more important than having a house, more important than being famous. And now you might feel this is it. Follow that call. Follow love. Follow the light. And to open yourself for being called, being drawn. That doesn't mean that we ignore the other activities of our more worldly life, but in the center of the mandala of your life, there is this flame, the flame of bodhicitta. From this inner yearning, we might want to send out some prayers. Because at one point we realize we can't do it alone. We need a North Star. We need a refuge. And if it makes sense for you, you can direct these prayers towards Lama Zopa Rinpoche, but more as a symbol for that which is the divine for you, that which is essence love for you, that which you feel it's worth to live and die for. And it can take any form. It can carry any name. So stay in your body. in your deepest intuitive longing of the heart. And I will just say some possibilities of prayer to invite you into the creativity to find your own words. Lama, think of me. Lama, think of me. Lama, think of me. Precious teacher, give me the energy to overcome my fears and open my heart. Precious teacher, show me the way. Lama, think of me. Lama, think of me. Bring me to the places where I can grow and learn and help. Show me the way. Give me the energy to look through the illusion of separation. And guide me to the people who need my help. Lama, think of me. Lama, think of me. So take a few moments to open to your longing, to your yearning, to the call. And maybe no words come. And then you just rest. Stay in your body. Present moment awareness. Then Lama Zopa and all the teachings, all the gifts, all the support you have received not only within the FBMT mandala, or the tools you have learned on your spiritual path, they stream into your body. Like rain, like nectar, like light. Integrating. And you become aware of the Guru within, the Buddha within, the Tara within, the Goddess within, the source of essence love within. And this treasure within opens its petals like a flower open. And it fills your body. And then through the pores of your body, it radiates out into your life, into the present moment. Here, from heart to heart, and there where your body is right now. Feel that you are the source of healing, the source of love, the source of peace. And then you rest. Healing and blessing your environment by just being there. The power of the prayer field is within you. The power of the presence of Lama Zopa in your life is within you. And the power of the Tara practice you might do is within you. Medicine Buddha is within you. Dream that dream. letting everything be as it is. But gently insist on being love. Not pushing anything away. Just looking through it. Gently insisting on light, on love. Lovingly ignoring what the narrative self has to say about this. Look at love and be love. Look at peace and be peace. Look at stillness and be still. With your eyes closed, and take your time to include the visual. So usually I don't make a break, but I feel like to have like 10 minutes, so you can move your body a little, uh, maybe open the window or something like that, having a glass of water. Stay in the field, so make your flat in the room where you're moving on in now part of the sacred mandala of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And then we continue at 5:30 in 10 minutes. If possible, if you could open your camera, and it's nice for me to see people. Yeah. So maybe there's a comment or a question about this practice, or something, a surprise, or something you struggled with. Let's see. There's something in you you would like to ask or share. did it make sense for you if when I invited you to connect with the longing or yearning that I'm just checking in because when I guide a meditation, I'm always surprising myself, and it's quite intimate for me because I share with you how I meditate, and then of course another part of my mind, particular after things, is then I feel a bit embarrassed, because it's not exactly like I don't use generally exactly the words usually being used. So I put it into my own words. I hope that is somehow helpful, gives you some inspiration or some idea how you can be brave enough to make prayers and practices kind of your own. Yeah, so that's my intention. Why I do that. I kind of riff on it. It's like a jazz musician. Yeah, someone told me that. So there's different kind of styles of teachings, and if I would compare it with musician, and you are a jazz musician, yeah. So of course behind me is 20 years of reciting all the sadhanas and prayers. So it's not that I don't know them, yeah, but I kind of riff on them. Yeah, I see some nodding, so that's satisfying. Yeah, Philip.
So thank you, Stephan. It's always stunning to me how focused and effective the meditations with you are. So for me, when I'm practicing by myself, even if I'm doing like a mantra practice, there's this endless cascade of discursive thoughts. Years later, they never go away.
Yeah. And you notice that when you meditate with me, that there's not so much, or
yes, absolutely,
yeah.
correct. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I want to mention one part of the meditation, which for me personally right now is what is happening for me, and that is, and I've heard also other teachers saying that now in this time after Lama Zopa's passing, it's like this shifting from the outer guru to the inner guru. I mean, maybe you have listened to the talk of Lama Ösel in Kopan, so he was also talking about that. Yeah, so, and it's a strong teaching of Lama Yeshe particular, but also Lama Zopa was often talking about the ultimate guru. Yeah, so the ultimate guru, the inner guru, and how the outer guru is a reflection of the inner guru, and that in a healthy relationship to a teacher, it's about integrating. Yeah? So it's about integrating. Yeah? And that's for me right now kind of happening. I feel something in me grows. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the advices of Kandrola was one of the first advice we got was to emphasize impermanence and bodhicitta. So that's why I brought the death and the certainty of death. And like, as I said, I would like to emphasize the present moment awareness. So I just brought this teaching of death and the uncertainty of death into the present moment. And yeah, again, I mean, we are still alive, right? We survived so far this session. So here we are alive, we have an experience. Yeah, you still see, you still feel, you still hear. And it's such a simple, immediate thing, but often because we are so much in planning and thinking about the past and the future, we miss being alive, being here. And this is just, I mean, this is like, isn't it? I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, that now you perceive shapes and colors, and you hear a human voice. And I mean, to hear a voice, it's like, you know, because it's not only, you know, the words I say. I mean, you get so much more just by listening to a voice. It's just present moment awareness. It's like, wow. The sounds around you. Just, and then bodhicitta. So that was, I mean, one can talk a lot about bodhicitta, and we do in the Geluk tradition. I mean, people study 7 years bodhicitta, you know, they know everything about bodhicitta. But obviously, bodhicitta is not something you know, yeah? That's thoughts about bodhicitta and books about bodhicitta, yeah? So what I'm exploring also, I mean, it's not that these teachings are useless, but what's your taste? What's your experience? Yeah. So, and that's why I brought this longing in. I mean, there's more to bodhicitta maybe than that, but so the felt sense of bodhicitta, which is not exactly an emotion. It's something more. It's on a kind of deeper level. Nevertheless, there is a felt sense of bodhicitta. Yeah. And according to the Mahayana tradition, we all have it. It's innate. So it's the path can be seen more as an unpacking of something which is already there, rather than cultivating bodhicitta or training in bodhicitta. The goodness, the warmth breaks through in your life. Yeah? You can feel it. How happy it makes you when you do something for someone else. If you really, if the egoic structure has a little break and you act from your heart, how does that feel? Yeah. And then if you connect with that, and it's undescribable, ungraspable. So it's not like something we can put our finger on. But then if a bodhicitta prayer comes from that place in you, then you really pray. If a devotional prayer, like I bow to your lotus feet or something, comes from that what you really feel, then you pray. If you just say the words and you repeat the words because someone else told you to, you know, I don't think that's a real prayer. But if it's felt in your body, and then the words come, and they might change, like in the way they also now I showed you how they change in me. Yeah? So I play around with these prayers. And repetition. Pray like a mad woman. Repetition. If a sentence in a prayer speaks to you, something opens, just stay with that. Lama, think of me. I can say that for hours. Lama, think of me. Really. Not because someone told me I should say this prayer or something, because it connects something deep within me. It comes from a intuitive space in me, and then the words are magic. These words are not magic when they are said by the conceptual mind, and you're not connected with your body and your experience. But then they are spells. They become spells. Yeah. Yeah, and then it was not mentioned by Kandula. I don't know why, because I would have said impermanence, bodhicitta, and emptiness. Because that was what Lama Zopa was teaching. And his teachings on emptiness, also his teachings on bodhicitta, they were in a completely different categories than any kind of other teachings, because he didn't give philosophical teachings. He talked from his immediate experience, and you could feel it. So even if the words not always made sense, it's, you know, it's just in his presence. So there is not so much to understand in the teachings of Lama Zopa, at least for me. Yeah. The presence of Lama Zopa brought me into the non-conceptual mind, into direct experience. You know, this moments where your blah 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 blah, the discursive mind, Philip used that word, it just has a little break, because you are in this field and you become kind of speechless. And all these important problems we have in the conceptual mind, that's the only place where they exist. You need to think about problems, then you have problems. It's quite hard to have problems because you need to concentrate on thinking the problematic thoughts. They just become quiet in the presence of Lama Zopa. Yeah. So I wanted to, and I will continue tomorrow. I will post these quotes in the Facebook group, so you don't need to write them down. So I will just read from my notes, and they are what Lama Zopa said. Yeah. So, and then tomorrow I want to continue with that. So. If you have a connection with Lama Zopa, this is like him being here. Yeah. The way in which everything exists. So the way in which everything exists. So everything is pretty inclusive, yeah? Everything. Everything. So again, if we stay in present moment awareness, everything. What you touch, what you feel, what you think, what you hear, the walls around you, your body, the sense of I, the problems you have, the future imagination you have, the floor you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, your name, your personality, your heart, everything. Everything, every single sensation, every single thought, everything, every feeling you have in this moment. Everything. Everything you ever perceived, everything you ever thought, everything you will perceive, and everything you will ever think and feel. This body, yeah? So this body is so important for us because we are so identified with the body. We believe we are this. Yeah. So the way in which everything exists is by being merely labeled by mind. Merely labeled by mind. So this is, if you have ever listened to Lama Zopa, this is one of his favorite words, merely labeled by mind. What does it mean? One possibility right now is when you hear that, merely labeled by mind, that something in you stops. Something stopped. Because it's not really graspable what is really meant here, merely labeled by mind. Merely labeled by mind. Other words for this is mere thought. Everything exists in mere thought. Notice the buts in you. Yeah, but there's something like matter. There is something like the room is real, my body is real. It really exists. It is there. It has a substance. It's made from matter. My problems exist. The I exists. What I'm looking at really exists. Merely labeled by mind. A metaphor for this could be, which also Lama Zopa used a lot, is it's like a dream. You see, everything you dream exists merely in consciousness. It's a mere appearance in consciousness. Exactly like that, this moment exists. Exactly like in mere thought, merely made up. So then he continues. But that does not mean that everything the mind labels actually exists. So otherwise, for example, if you would think you can just make things up in your mind and then they are real, then try to go to your bathroom, take the toilet paper roll and think of it as money and go to the shop. That's an example of Lama Zopa. Why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? If everything is merely labeled by mind, if everything is just thought, why can't we convince the shopkeeper to accept money as to accept toilet paper as money? So there's something more to it. It's more complex. So this kind of practice of the law of attraction or something like that, Yeah, there is something in it, but in the Buddhist view, it's a bit more complex than that. Just making things up in your mind, and yeah. Sometimes people who are doing that too much, they are called psychotic by the rest of the population. Even though everything exists by merely labeled by mind, so even though that is like that, that doesn't mean that if your mind labels something, it automatically brings it into existence. Mere labeling by mind is not enough. There has to be a valid base. There has to be a valid base. And he uses the example of a bell. In the case of a bell, the base has to have a certain shape and perform the function of ringing. This is what validates it. So we have to, tomorrow we have to look into that a bit more. Yeah, what is meant here? Yeah. Just one thing into adding to this. Of course, if you look at the base, for example, the label body, the base of the label body is this particular arrangement of cells. Yeah. But then if you look into the base, you also realize, you start to see the base, let's say the atoms of the body, they exist also merely labeled. On what? You know, on the parts of the cells. So you go more deeper down. So what is cell? The word cell, what is that labeled on? So you find the parts, and then you look at the parts. So what are the parts labeled on? They are labeled on atoms. Then you look at what is atoms labeled on electrons, and so on and so on. And then you go further down, you come to quarks. So, and you go further down. So trying to find that which everything rests upon. And the particular gift of the Prasankhika Madhyamika view is that when you go down, there's nothing there. You find labels upon labels upon labels upon labels. There is no final consciousness down there or final energy you can find. It's labels upon labels upon labels. So now, what happened for me, or what happens for me when I now connect with Lama Zopa, There is just openness. Everything is just as it is. Shapes and colors, sensations, feelings, thoughts. All of that is happening and nothing is also happening. My conceptual mind has nothing to rest upon, nothing to grasp. I don't need to fight with anything. I don't need anything. It's all vividly appearing, but there's nothing to hold on to. There's no I. There's just the appearance of this. And this is connected with everything else. And everything else is also empty. Vividly appearing, but no substance. Thoughts appearing, but they don't mean anything. And out of some mysterious reason, out of this movement can come, the same as my words now come. Try to play a bit with this sentence. Everything exists merely labeled by mind. And with some things, it's very obvious. For example, your past, your future, problems. It's quite easy to see that. If past is gone, the only place where it exists is in thought. It's mere thought. And then you extend that a little to money, to health. And then you extend that a little. And this becomes more difficult, maybe even to the body. Body exists merely in thought. The I exists merely in thought, merely labeled by mind. So Lama Zopa often said the most powerful way to accumulate merit. Maybe you have no idea what I mean with accumulate merit. That is one of the many important words to actually unpack, yeah, to feel and to explore what is actually said with these words. But to make it short, so the most powerful way to accumulate merit is to meditate and to reflect upon emptiness. For sure, when we do this, as students of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and everyone here is included in your personal way, in your personal connection, then we fulfill the wishes of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So even just hearing, merely labeled by thought, if it's completely beyond your own experience right now, but just hearing these words and then trying to unpack them for yourself in your own experience. A mountain high like Mount Everest, and even bigger and of merit, of positive energy, exploding into the world. Awakening all suffering beings. Thank you so much to help me to fulfill the wishes of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So I dedicate that merit to all of you, to your healing and to your growth and to your peace. And then we see each other, hopefully. You never know, yeah, but hopefully we have created enough causes to meet together tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephan. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Stephan.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, hi, Philip.
Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care.